Today, August 10th, 2024. We're going to be in John chapter 6. And immediately following the feeding of the 5,000 and walking on water is the crowd clamoring for more. Notice verse 24. So the crowds saw that Jesus was not there, nor his disciples. They got into boats. They went to Capernaum, seeking Jesus. Like, okay, maybe they're really ready to see Jesus as he is. No, notice verse 25. When they found him, they said, "Rabbi, when did you come here?" And Jesus, here's the key. Jesus knows what's going on here. "Truly, truly, I say to you, you are seeking me not because you saw signs, but because you ate your fill of the loaves. Do not work for the food that perishes, but for the food that endures to eternal life, which the Son of Man will give to you. For on him God the Father has set his seal." And they said to him, "What must we do to be doing the works of God?" Like, what's necessary so that God's going to be pleased with me? Jesus answered them, verse 29, "This is the work of God. Believe in him whom he has sent." So they said, "Well, what sign do you do that we may see and believe you? What work do you perform? Our fathers ate the manna in the wilderness. As it is written, he gave them bread from heaven to eat." This is the same group that just were fed bread. So what can you do for us, Jesus? "Truly I say to you, it was not Moses who gave you the bread, but my Father gives you the true bread from heaven. The bread of God is he who comes down from heaven and gives life to the world." And Jesus said, and they said to him, "Sir, give us this bread always." Like, this would be great. Jesus said to them, verse 35, "I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me shall not hunger. Whoever believes in me shall never thirst. But I said to you that you have seen me, and yet you do not believe. All the Father gives to me will come to me, and whoever comes to me I will never cast out. I have come down from heaven, not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me. This is the will of him who sent me, that I should lose nothing of all that he has given me, but raise it up on the last day. For this is the will of my Father, that everyone who looks on the Son and believes in him should have eternal life, and I will raise him up on the last day." So the Jews grumbled about him, because he said, "I am the bread that comes down from heaven." Like, isn't this Jesus, the son of Joseph, whose father or mother we know? How does he now say, "I've come down from heaven"? And so he's going to kind of answer the question and ultimately say in verse 48, "I am the bread of life." And he's going to say even more radical things in this chapter, which is crazy when you think about it. They're thinking physical. Their example is the manna, physical bread in the wilderness. And Jesus was taking something physical, the bread and the loaves and the manna and all these things, to say, "I am the bread of life." And you're like, what? "And I'm come down from heaven." Right? And so you have to believe that I am. I believe that I am the I am, right? Believe that I am the one sent from the Father. And if we believe that he's the bread of life, what's that all imply? What's it all mean? How does that affect us today? It's one of the I am statements of Jesus, and each of them are very powerful. I think there's 7 in the Gospel of John. But I'm the bread of life, right? It says in verse 51, "I'm the living bread that comes down from heaven. If anyone eats of this bread, he will live forever. And the bread that I will give for the life of the world is my flesh." And they're not going to get this. And we only understand it because of hindsight. As we look back, we have the full picture of the cross and the resurrection. And he's going to lay down his life. And so he's the bread that comes down from heaven to fulfill all that we have need of, right? Physically and spiritually, emotionally, take away the sins of the world. He's going to sacrifice himself. And what's he trying to move away from? Them just believing in signs and thinking that he's going to perform for them. He wants them to move from have to see to belief. That's why he'll tell Thomas that after the resurrection, blessed are you that you believe because you have seen, but blessed are those who have not seen and will believe, right? The whole thing is predicated on belief and not seeing, because only a very few people in one particular location at one particular time in history saw Jesus in the flesh. And so we've got these kind of images: the bread of life come down from heaven, the living bread. He's going to provide all we need. He's the answer. And we could be like the Jews and kind of be like, I don't know. Or we can go, he is all that I need. He will provide. He will satisfy. He will sustain. All those things are wrapped up in the bread of life. And wherever you're at, and whatever's going on, he's not a genie in a bottle. He's God over all. Come to give you life and life everlasting. Until next time, keep growing little by little.